Welcome back, Beaver Nation, to another edition of the Beaver Sports Show. Joining me once again is Crawford, and I'm Boon Kruger. Well, it's Civil War week, and the men's basketball team is hosting the Oregon Ducks at Gill Coliseum on Sunday, and the women's basketball team is traveling down to Eugene to face Oregon at Matthew Knight Arena. Coming up, we'll break down what both teams need to do to get the sweep for this season.
We'll also have highlights from the gymnastics pink-out meet, as well as break down the women's basketball team's struggles at home this weekend against the Bay Area schools.
You're watching the Beaver Sports Show on KBVR. Stay tuned.
From the KBVR TV studio on the campus of Oregon State University, this is the Beaver Sports Show.
The women's basketball team was in action this past weekend in Gill Coliseum as they took on the Stanford Cardinal and the California Golden Bears. On Thursday night, the third-ranked Cardinal came into Gill Coliseum and showed why they are one of the top teams in the country as they clinched at least a share of their 12th straight conference title. Stanford wasted little time letting Oregon State know that this game would not be similar to the one that had taken place in Palo Alto earlier in the season, as they cruised to an easy 78-45 victory over the Beavers. Sisters Nimkadi Ogumake and Chinny Ogumake scored 27 and 10 points apiece as the Cardinal blitzed the Beavers from the start of the game. Nimkadi was so dominant throughout the game that with 12:49 remaining in regulation, she was outscoring OSU by herself 27-26. The 6'2" senior also led the Cardinal with 9 rebounds. As a team, Stanford shot 47.5% from the field while making 10 three-pointers. While Stanford played extremely well, Oregon State struggled mightily against a superior talented team as the Beavers shot only a mere 24% in the first half on 6 made baskets. The Beavers were able to get hotter in the second half as they shot 40% from the floor, but the 20-point deficit at halftime was too much to overcome. Alyssa Martin led the Beavers with 11 points, and Orlicia Marchbanks was once again a leader out on the floor as she contributed 8 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. After the game, Oregon State head coach Scott Rueck talked about how the Cardinal played the game and what he thought the difference was in the game.
And when you play Stanford, it's just a different game than it is seeing everybody else. You know, they're just at another level of execution, and this is a veteran Stanford team. You know, they've got a lot of experience on the floor, and the road atmosphere doesn't faze them a bit, you know, and so we took, I thought a good shot from them tonight, but, you know, I liked our hustle, I liked our effort. It was just, you know, too much of them.
Coach Rueck talked about the slow start early in the game and how it affected the Beavers.
They played us perfectly to start with. Nothing was easy, you know, and then we didn't hit a few of the shots I thought we needed to hit early in the game to get ourselves to relax. And that was, I thought, just key. We wanted to win the first 4 minutes, you know, and tonight we didn't. You know, and credit them. The shots we took were tough ones, but we had to hit them. And so I thought they just executed well all night. And then obviously once the scoreboard got as lopsided as it did, you know, it became a shooting goal for them.
Following their drubbing against Stanford last Thursday, the women's basketball team looked to bounce back against Cal on Saturday. Although they put forth a valiant effort, they fell short in their last home game of the season, losing to the Bears 75-68. With more on the Cal game, here's Beaver Sports Show reporter Megan Miller.
With a crowd of 2,330, it was senior night at Gill Coliseum for the lone senior Orlicia Marchbanks. Marchbanks led the team in her final home game with her 5th double-double of the season with 18 points and 10 rebounds. The Bears jumped out to an early 9-2 lead in the first half, led by Cal's Talia Caldwell, but the Beavers answered back with a 7-point run to tie the game up at 9. Throughout the half, Alyssa Martin tallied up 8 points and Sage Ndendi with 5, but it was Marchbanks with 8 points that brought the Beavers to a 33-32 lead at the end of the half. The Beavers ended the half with a total of 7 steals. Going into the second half with the lead, the Beavers had a tough job ahead of them holding off the Golden Bears. Within the first 2 minutes of play, Cal scored and took the lead 34-33 and held it for the rest of the game. But the Beavs stayed within close range, with Ndendi tallying 11 in the second half, followed by Allie Gibson with 9. The Beavs finished shooting 45% from the field to Cal's 39%, but it was the Bears' 63% from three-point range and 73% free throw shooting that gave Cal the win over the Beavers.
We went through a drought in the second half, where they got rebound putbacks. They beat us on boards in the second half, but they got rebound putbacks. It seemed like they shot a free throw whenever they felt like in the second half. And, so they got away from us. That pressure mounted on us, and we didn't respond offensively like I think we're capable of, credit them. But then down the stretch, that's what we're about. We got to fight and scrap, and that's what Alicia is about. That's what she brings to our program, and that's what we've had 2 years of. And so I think it epitomized not only our team, but it epitomized her. She got to finish with a double-double today, and it was a loss, but it was a loss where we gave everything we had today.
Yeah, and just as players, we try to take every game and we try to learn from it and try to improve and just prove people wrong. And so that's one thing we're just coming in and taking the positives out of this game. And so that's one big thing. We're just taking all the positives out of this game and moving on from it.
Thanks, Megan. The men's basketball team traveled to the Bay Area this past weekend looking to regain momentum as they only have a few games left before the conference tournament. With more on how the Beavers did, here's sports show reporter Kazra Azizian.
Well, guys, you both predicted a split, and believe me, Beaver Nation was all hoping for one, but unfortunately the Beavers come back from the Bay Area empty-handed. It didn't take quadruple overtime for Stanford to put down the Beavers last Thursday in another closely contested heartbreaker. 12 lead changes, 5 ties, and multiple runs by both teams was the story of this one. Beavers fell behind early 32-24, but went on a 17-8 run to hold the lead at halftime. But Stanford delivered a punch right back with a 16-6 run of their own. Beavers were able to cut down the lead to 3 after Angus Brandt drained a triple. However, Stanford delivered the knockout with a final 8-0 run to finish off Oregon State 87-82. Jared Cunningham had his 4th straight game with 20 or more points, registering 22. Berto Nelson also added 19 points off the bench. The Beavers then headed to Berkeley on Saturday to take on the conference-leading Cal Bears. Once again, the Beavers fell into an early hole, something that we've seen a lot of this year. However, they got on a 15-4 run to get back into the game and eventually took the lead at halftime 34-32. The bench players were responsible for this comeback. But as soon as the starters came back in, Cal took off and ran away with this game, winning 77-63. Devon Collier and Roberto Nelson had 14 points. Angus Brandt added 11 points and 7 rebounds. This game especially hurts for Beaver fans because this was an opportunity for Jared Cunningham to make his case on why he should be the Pac-12 Player of the Year instead of Cal's Jorge Gutierrez. But instead, Gutierrez led with 17 points and took the Bears to 12-3 in the conference. Jared Cunningham finished with only 10 points. Beavers come back home for the rest of the season and take on the rival Ducks on Sunday. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kaz. Well, certainly a disappointing weekend in the Bay Area as the Beavers dropped both games, both key games, as they try to get the best seeding before the end of the conference regular season before they go to LA to play in the conference tournament. This week is the 337th edition of the Civil War basketball game. Alex, how do the Beavers get back on track? They've only won 1 game of their last 6 conference games. How do they get back on track?
It's tough. This is still somewhat of a young team, only 1 senior graduating. So I feel like they just need to get a little bit of shot of confidence. Coach Robinson said that they come out, they practice hard, and that they've been playing with a lot of confidence, but they need more confidence out there, and they need to close out games. Like we saw, Cal's a good school, but they just need to close out the games. I don't really know exactly what it's going to take for them to get that shot of confidence, but if there was 1 game of the season that they could, really get up for, it's going to be the most packed house of the year in Gill. If there's 1 game of the season that could really boost this team, it's going to be the Civil War game this weekend. There's going to be a lot of energy in that arena, no matter how big of a slump you're in. I don't care if it was an 8-game losing streak. They're going to show up for this game. They're going to practice hard all week. They want that win. Regardless of how the season ends, they want that sweep over the University of Oregon, who swept them last year in the Civil War. It's a huge rivalry. So, I think honestly it's just playing with a little bit more confidence, closing out games. What's your opinion on the subject?
I definitely agree with you. I think this team playing at home in front of a packed house, or probably a sellout at Gill Coliseum this Sunday, they're going to have a lot of confidence just feeding off the crowd. I think what they need to do on the court is they need to get back to the basics on defense. They really need to shut down Oregon's offense, and that's something that they struggled to do last weekend in the Bay Area. Granted, it was against Stanford and Cal, two of the better teams in the conference, and this late in the season, it's going to be really hard to win conference road games as every team is really battling for a spot. And I think with being at Gill Coliseum, I think that gives the Beavers an edge with the home court advantage, but it's going to be really tough against the Oregon Ducks, who are really hitting on all cylinders, who have over 20 wins now and are looking at a potential NCAA bid to the tournament. So it's a must-win game for the Ducks, but I think the Beavers can really play well in that spoiler role, and they certainly have a lot left to play for, as there's a couple more conference games after this weekend. So, and trying to get that best seed in the conference tournament is going to be key. But you know, it has been a little bit disappointing lately in conference play, as the Beavers have dropped. They've only won one of their last 6 games. It seems like both teams have done a complete 180 from the first time they met in the Civil War, as the Beavers were 4-5 after that game, and now they're 5-10 in conference.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on the Civil War game that we won in Eugene, I think personally, regardless of the rest of the season, regardless of the Texas win, which was huge, I think that was the best basketball the Beavers have played all season. The Ducks were fighting back hard. A lot of energy in Matthew Knight Arena, but the Beavers, they flipped the script, they played hard, and they ended up taking over that game at the end. Jared Cunningham took over that game and, you know, won it for the Beavers. I think one thing we need to work on that I failed to mention earlier, yes, we've been struggling defensively, mightily, you know, last in the conference. I believe we're 305th out of all the teams in the nation, of which there's like 345. So, yes, we are struggling mightily on the defensive end. But what we need to do on the offensive end, our defense, that's going to improve. There's really nowhere to go but up. We can't get worse in that category. On the offensive end, I think we've still been relying too heavily on our shooters. Obviously, we saw Devon Collier had good games this last weekend, but we need to have more of that post play. We need to work it from the inside out rather than from the outside in, which is what we've been trying to do a lot this season, and it just hasn't been working because we all know shooters are streaky. They go through hot streaks, they go through slumps. So I think we need to work it from the inside out more, get that post going, and then go from there against this Oregon school. It's going to be tough to shut them down defensively because they're a hot team. Mm-hmm. But I think, like you said, we can play that spoiler role. Predictions?
I think the Beavers will get the sweep, actually. I think the Beavers have been so up and down, have played great basketball and have also played pretty poor basketball at times this season. I think at home in front of the large crowd at Gill Coliseum, it's the Civil War. The Beavers always get pumped up for the Civil War no matter what. It's the biggest game of the year, I think, for Oregon State, just in every single sport, the Civil War. I think with guys like Jared Cunningham and Devon Collier and Angus Brandt, you know, I think they probably take it personal that they haven't played very well lately as a team. And I think they're really going to look forward to getting back on the court and proving all the critics wrong. And they've had a week to prepare for the Civil War game. So I think the Beavers can get the win on Sunday in front of a packed house, and it's going to be a great game. What's your prediction, and who do you think needs to shine for Oregon State to win?
My prediction is a win. It's going to be tough, obviously. Eric Moreland, he tweaked his ankle. I saw him on crutches the other day in practice. He's got to play if we want to get the win. I think he will, even if it's in a more limited role. He played real good against them in our last game, so he's got to play. I think we're going to win. It's going to be tough. X factor for me, I'm just going to go with Devon Collier. I think that like I said, we got to work it in the post. We got to work it from the inside out. He needs to have a double-double. He needs to grab 10 boards. He needs to have 15 points. We really just got to beat him up, take him to the cleaners down low, and then eventually Roberto Nelson, Ahmad Starks, those guys can get it working outside. You know Cunningham's going to show up. He's going to have a good game. But I think if we truly want to win this game, we got to work it from the post. Devon Collier.
And I would agree with that. I think the X factor probably is Ahmad Starks. Okay. I think if he shines and makes 5 3-pointers, I think the Beavers are going to win the game. Well, we'll have more of the Beaver Sports Show coming up after this quick commercial break.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Oregon State Beaver.
Welcome back to the Beaver Sports Show. The gymnastics team tied UCLA last Friday at home and will remain in Gill this Friday as they take on the number 16 Boise State Broncos. With more on gymnastics, here's Beaver Sports Show reporter Ashley Bett Malik.
Tonight we are at the 8th annual Pink Out event hosted by the OSU gymnasts that are ranked number 8th in the nation. They are taking on number 7 UCLA and Cal tonight. Tonight the ladies are not only fighting hard against each other, but they're fighting against breast cancer.
The Oregon State gymnasts started strong on the vault. Michaela Stambaugh and Leslie Mack each earned a score of 9.825. Brittany Harris earned a score of 9.875, while Kelsey Blaylock, the team's highest scorer on the vault this season, earned an excellent score of 9.925. The team tied its season high of 49.200 on the vault. Next, the Lady Beavs headed to the bar where they are ranked 3rd in the nation. Melanie Jones earned a career high of 9.85, and Hannah Casey tied her personal best of 9.825. Harris earned a 9.85, while Olivia Vivian, Stambaugh, and Mack each earned a 9.875 on the event. Heading to the beam, the ladies stretched their lead against the Bruins to 98.525 to 98.125. Blaylock and Stambaugh had strong routines, earning a 9.80, while Harris earned a 9.775 and Jones earned a 9.75. Vivian earned a high score of 9.85 and matching her career high for the second straight week, ranked number 2 in the nation on beam, Leslie Mack earned a 9.95 and even a perfect 10 from one judge. The Bruins closed the gap heading into the final rotation with the Beavers earning 147.700 to 147.575. Ranked number 3 in the nation on floor, the Lady Beavs finished with some uncharacteristic performances. Blaylock tied her career best of 9.825. Harris earned a 9.775. Jones earned a 9.80 stepping out of bounds, and a low landing on her final tumbling pass landed Mack at a 9.75. However, Stambaugh's performance earned a 9.925, which earned Coach Tanya Chaplin her second tie in her 15 years of coaching at OSU. The Beavers and Bruins earned a final score of 196.775, and California earned a 192.350. This leaves OSU ranked number 8th in the nation. Leslie Mack earned her 5th Pac-10-12 Special Performance of the Week for her beautiful beam routine, while Stambaugh earned her 3rd Pac-10-12 Gymnast of the Week for her near-flawless floor routine, and earned the all-around title at 39.425.
The Lady Beavs had an outstanding night this evening. Join us next week, February 24th at 7 p.m. in Gill Coliseum, where they host Boise State.
Thanks, Ashley. On Tuesday, Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott announced that OSU gymnasts Michaela Stambaugh and Leslie Mack have been awarded the Pac-12 Gymnast of the Week and Pac-12 Special Performance of the Week honors for the week of February 13th through the 19th. Stambaugh, a junior, put together an impressive performance on last Friday's Pink Out meet as she won the all-around title with a score of 39.425. Senior Leslie Mack, who won the Special Performance of the Week honors as she performed a near-flawless routine on the balance beam to score a 9.95, including a perfect 10.0 from one judge. The gymnastics team will be back in action this week as they host the 16th-ranked Boise State Broncos at Gill Coliseum on Friday at 7 p.m.
The softball squad was down in San Diego for the Campbell-Cartier Classic last week and continued their excellent start to the season, winning 4 out of 5 games. With more on softball, here's Beaver Sports reporter Audrey Wiltz.
Over the weekend, the Oregon State softball team traveled to Southern California to compete in the Campbell-Cartier Classic, a tournament co-hosted by San Diego and San Diego State. After a win over UC Santa Barbara and a disappointing extra innings loss to San Diego State on Friday, the Beavers revived their split with a 3-2 victory over Notre Dame. OSU's Marina DeMore pitched all 7 innings with 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. Liz Santana sealed the win with a single in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Beavers continued their winning streak on Saturday with a 7-2 sweep over San Diego. Santana and Danny Gilmore each had 2 significant hits that paved the way for OSU's offense. The Beavers added 3 runs in the inning to close the win. Paige Hall, Erin Fiekert, and Tina Andriana all had time in the circle, but Hall excelled, especially in 3 innings, allowing only 2 hits, no runs, with 1 walk and 1 strikeout. OSU concluded their play in the tournament with a matchup against Central Florida. Following much of their pattern of the play over the weekend, the Lady Beavs rallied late in the game to prevail with a 1-run lead, finishing with a final score of 2-1. DeMoore and Hall continued their solid work on the mound, this time combining to pitch a 2-hitter. In the tournament, the pair went 4-0 with 14 strikeouts. The Beavers finished the weekend 4-1, a score head coach Kirk Walker adorned as successful and gratifying. The team will return to Southern California this weekend when they host the Cathedral City Classic just outside of Palm Springs.
It was another busy week in the Pac-12 Conference as teams began to separate themselves in the basketball standings. With only a few weeks left before the conference tournament, each team is fighting for the best seeding in the conference tournament. With the Pac-12 update, here is Sports Show reporter Jenna Lade.
2 weeks remain in the Pac-12 regular season for the leaders California and Washington. Both teams hit the road where Cal can get at least a share of the regular season title with a couple of wins, with some help from Washington State in the basketball version of the Apple Cup. However, they will need to beat Utah and Colorado, where the Buffaloes have not been defeated in their league. When it comes to Player of the Week, the honor has been given to California guard Justin Cobb. Over the 2 games against the Ducks and Beavers, Cobb averaged 19 points, going 16 for 26 from the field, 10.5 assists, and 4 rebounds. This is his first career Player of the Week honor and the 45th all-time selection for California. Also, be sure to come support the Beavers for the second Civil War game against the Ducks on our home court on Sunday at 4:30. If you can't make it to the game, you can catch it live on FSN.
3 Oregon State football players have been suspended indefinitely in the last week for getting in trouble with the law or violating team rules. Junior cornerback Sean Martin, who played in 3 games last season, was arrested on Saturday for driving under the influence and eluding police officers. Junior cornerback Michon Cummings violated unspecified team rules, and sophomore cornerback Malcolm Marable was caught driving 104 miles per hour in a 65-mile-per-hour zone. It looks like new secondaries coach Rod Perry will definitely have his hands full this offseason.
Well, that is all the time we have for you tonight.
Be sure to tune in to Against the Spread Sports Talk Radio this Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. to hear me, Boon, and the rest of the gang break down all your week's sports, both nationally and locally.
And on behalf of Alex Crawford and everyone here at the Beaver Sports Show, I'm Boon Kruger. Hope you have a great night, and we'll see you back here next week.